Hello everyone, this is Crystal Potthoff from Prayerful Arts, and I am going to start a little series of Pysanky inspired by quilts. And this idea came from two places. One time when I was teaching and I was talking to someone about the pattern, and they're like, oh yeah, I get this. This is a quilt pattern. I quilt. I understand the pattern. And I thought, oh yeah, you know what? Some of these do look like quilt patterns. And that was quite a few years ago. Somebody said that to me. Well, I got invited to be a vendor at an annual quilt show. It's a fairly big event here in Peoria, and I'm excited about it. But I thought, I need to find some patterns that are really quilt inspired to bring to the event along with some of my other Pysanky. So I bought these. Our church in the area had a rummage sale, so I got these 4 books for 25 cents, which was, that was a good deal. Anyway, so I went through and I marked a few of these that I really liked. That was one. That's a little more abstract, but this one here, I really like this. It's the 8-pointed star, but it's got other elements in it, and I thought that's perfect. And then the other great thing about this, it gives me some other color options. So I'm going to do some videos showing how I took these quilt patterns and adopted them to Pysanky. So again, kind of using inspiration that's non-Pysanky and creating Pysanky with it. So we're going to get started on our first one, which is going to be actually this one I just had up here. Oops, where'd it go? There it is. We're going to do this one first, and then I'm going to move on to some of the other ones. All right, let's get started. So for this division, I'm not necessarily going to do these colors, but I am going to do this division. We're going to start with dividing our egg into 4 sections this way, and then an equator, which will give us 8 sections on the egg. And I'm going to do this as a front and a back. I thought about doing 4 across, but I think for purposes of demonstration and being able to see it, just 1 on each side will work. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to divide each of these sections into 8 pieces of pie. And then I'll turn it over and I'll do the same thing here, and I'll have this line touch that line. And one of the things that you have to remember is that the quilt is flat. The egg, obviously, is not. So we're going to be modifying it a little bit. You've got an oval shape, and it's, here, plus it's round. So it's going to be a little different. The measurements aren't going to be exactly flat and perfectly even as it would be on a quilt, because this is not a quilt. It's an egg. All right, now what I'm going to do is, you know what I learned? So the numbers from 0 to 10 are pretty faded, but if I use from like 10 down, then it's not faded. And then I'm like, oh, okay, I can do that. So I'm going to mark about halfway on each one of these lines, and that was about 1.5. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is, I should have done the whole thing. Well, no, okay. All right, I'm going to mark 1.5 centimeters all the way around the egg. Oh yeah, and I can do like there, and then I can do 3. That's what I meant to do. Sometimes the brain's working, and sometimes it's not. So I'm marking 1.5 centimeters from the center out on the line. And we'll draw one of these, and then I just will turn it over and do the same thing on the other side. So now what I'm going to do is draw from here up to the center of that. So it's going to go from there to there. And there to there. All the way around. And you can be exact if you want to know that you're exactly in the center, but I'm kind of eyeballing it and it looks pretty close to me. All right, so there we have our 8-pointed star. Now we're going to draw the lines that divide each point of the star into all the little individual sections, kind of like it's showing here. So there's 9 little sections. So I'm going to start, you start with whichever one you want. And I'm going to look and go down like maybe like what I think is a third. And I'm from here on this line, I'm picking out what I think is about a third, and I'm going to draw a line that goes like that. And then I'm going to draw another line like that. Right? Then I'm going to do the same thing on this line. I'm going to draw, and I want to try, if there was an imaginary line here, to get it to cross, but it may not exactly cross on all of them, and that's okay. Again, your challenge here is you're dealing with the curved surface. So we have one of them drawn. So now I'm going to come over here to this one, and on this one I'm going to use this point to draw that line and that line. And then I'm going to come over here. I'm just kind of drawing that imaginary line, and I'll draw that line and that line. All right, those weren't quite as even, but you know, you get the idea. Again, I'm going to go here and here, and then here I'm going to guess, eyeball it, pretty close. I'm happy with it. Okay. And again, and just do this in all 8 points of the star. We're almost done. Looky there. And then when you get to your last one, you have all your points, you know where to draw them. You draw them from there, and then you draw them from there. Okay, and so now each little section of the star has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So each one of those star points has 9 diamonds inside the bigger diamond. Now I'm going to turn it over and do the same thing here. And then what I'm going to do is actually with this one I want the lines to be white, so I am going to rinse the egg off so I can just barely see the lines, and then I will wax it in the white. The other option I could do is I could dye this in a dark color and do dark colored lines, but I think I want to do the white lines for this one. So I will draw this over here, and then we'll come back and we'll wax all of these lines. So we're ready to start waxing, and I am going to use my blue wax here from Ukrainian Accessories, but you don't have to use blue wax. You can just use regular wax. I'm just doing it, hoping it shows up a little better on the camera because my lines didn't get washed off as much as I thought they would. All right, so we're going to start the waxing. Whenever I do an 8-pointed star, I wax these lines first. So that, and that here. So I kind of do this these 4 lines that intersect. So that's what I do first when I am doing any kind of an 8-pointed star. Now I'm going to draw the actual star points. And I didn't show you, but so there was one of the stars that I drew, and the other one, and they touch here, which is what I want. Now I'm not going to put wax on these lines or this line. I could, but for purposes of this, I am choosing not to. You can do however you would like. So I'm waxing each one of the 8 points. Oops. Pause to make sure my head was staying out of the camera. I've had a problem with that lately. I think I have it solved, but I'm not 100% sure. So an 8-pointed star can be a symbol for Christ, for the Son of Son of God shining through in your life, His light. All right, so there we have our 8 points. Now we're going to start waxing these lines. And waxing them, just like I drew them. Although, I will tell you that sometimes I think, well, the line should have been a little over or something. So when I go to wax it, that's how I wax it. This is kind of fun. I don't know. It's very soothing to just kind of keep doing these little straight lines over and over. I probably wouldn't want to do it over and over and over for hours on end, but it's very relaxing to do it on this egg. And I don't know if you can see it, but the wax it's starting to come out in a blue shade because I had some black wax in there, but now the blue wax is showing its colors. You see it very well on the white of the egg. What I learned from experience was it was a little harder to see it if the egg was dyed blue, and that was kind of like, well, yeah, Chris, it's blue wax on a blue egg. You're probably not going to be able to see it. Like I said, sometimes the brain works better than other days. But I like using it on the white part. You can really see it well. But again, you don't have to have the blue wax. Any kind of wax will be fine. All right, so there we have the 8 points with the 9 diamonds inside of it. I'm going to turn it over and do the same color here, the same waxing there. And then we have to decide on colors. And let's take a look. There's some combinations here I really like. I really like this one. It's green and yellow, pink, purple, and like a dark red. Although I'm gonna have to use maybe like a gold so that it will show up against the white lines. What was the other one I really liked? I liked this one too. That was the pink and the blue and the green. These quilt magazines are so fun because they'll show you not just like the pattern that they're doing, but they'll show you like other things they do in them, other color combinations. So let's see. I'm going to pick that. I'm going to wax it, pick the color, and we'll be back to do the next step. So here's the color I have. I put the egg in the Ukrainian gift shop yellow, and then it was a pretty bright looking yellow, but then I put it in the gold to get it just a little deeper shade of yellow. So what I am going to do now is wax the parts that I want to stay yellow, and those parts are, so if you look at this and you see, if I'm just looking at one diamond, there's one, and then there's a row of two, there's a row of three, there's two, and there's one. So I'm going to put it in where there's two. And I'm just going to go around it and fill in each one of the squares, or not squares, well, diamonds. Yeah, they're not really squares, they're diamonds. So I will go all the way around and fill in all of these. And then I will put it in the next color, which I think I will do green. Have the center be green. Although I haven't decided if I'm going to do the turquoise and make it a bright green, or if I want it to be a springy green. I'll have to wax this and then see what I think, because this is kind of a deep yellow. So we'll see. I'll come up with an idea, and then I will show you what I've got. All right, I've had a little bit of a fail. I started waxing this, waxing around the inner star, and then I ended up waxing the inner star. I want to show you this because sometimes I do things like this too. So what am I going to do? Well, I'm going to wax the outer part. I'm going to continue to wax the outer part. And then I will come back and I will also wax the inner star. Once I could, if it had been a small mistake, I could have scraped off the wax and, you know, tried to use the manicure pen and clean it up, but that's a little too big. So I think when I'm all done, I will go back over those areas with either a Tombow marker, which is a watercolor marker, or my Posca pen, and make it the green color I intended it to be. This happens to everyone. And it's now happened to me. I waxed the wrong part. So what I'm going to do over here, this is the other side that I haven't messed up. I'm just going to make a little thing like that in each one of them where I want to put wax. And then I'll go back and fill them in, and hopefully I won't make the same mistake on this side. Okay, I'll be back. So this is what it should look like. Not that. But I'll make that center green when we're done. So since I have kind of waxed around the outside and the center here is going to be green, I have decided I'm going to paint that with the turquoise. So this is, the color it is now is Ukrainian Gift Shop Gold. The color I'm putting in my paintbrush in is Ukrainian Gift Shop Turquoise. And when you mix those two colors, you get a really beautiful green, right like that. Isn't that gorgeous? Okay. And dab it off. And now I will wax that. And then I'm probably going to rinse it so I can do some pink and purple colors out here. We are back, and now I have dyed this in the raspberry, the Ukrainian Gift Shop raspberry. And I am going to wax the kind of the next round of diamond shapes. So I'm going to go around there on both sides. So again, just paying attention to which ones need to be waxed. Oh, and you know what? I almost started to go up into that one. Well, I am finding out that I really need to pay attention to what I'm doing. So maybe I should stop talking and just wax these areas that need to be waxed. And then I am going to dye this. I have decided, well, I pretty much have decided, I think I'm going to put it in purple, but I might do something different. So we'll see what I decide. So obviously this is not purple. I changed my mind. And so what I did, it was in the raspberry. I did not wash it. I put it right into the orange, the Ukrainian gift shop orange. That is the one that does not have vinegar in it. And I got this really cool neon shade. So I'm going to wax these areas right here. And then I am going to dye it, or I'm going to wash it before I dye it in the purple. And you can see I also decided I wanted the pink to be here and here. So we're going to see what this looks like. I did want to show you, so because we're dealing with this oval shape, you don't get the nice even diamonds like you see here in the picture in between because of dealing with the oval type shape. So I mean, I could have put something in here. I just chose not to. Maybe on another one I will, but for this one I chose just to, these will all just be purple. So this is going to have a lot of wax on it. But right now I am going to cover up all the orange with wax. I will wash it, dye it purple, and then I will take the wax off. We're getting close. So here's where we're at before we take the wax off. I had put it in the Ukrainian gift shop purple, and it was a good purple, but I was afraid I didn't have enough contrast between that purple and this a raspberry color, so I put it in the Ukrainian Accessories Crown Purple. So we are now ready to take the wax off. And because there's so much wax, I'm doing it in the oven. All right, here it is. Oh, you know what it reminds me of is like the kaleidoscope things that that little tube you turn and twist it around and you saw the pretty colors. It kind of reminds me of that. It looks pretty cool. Okay, so there are a couple of things that I need to do to this egg. Number one, I can still see pencil lines. And number two, this should have been green. So we're going to do the green part first. And this is a Posca pen. This is the bullet-shaped PC3M tip. I thought I had a finer tip, but I don't. So we're going to see if this one works. And if it doesn't, I will, I'll go get one with a smaller tip. So what I'm going to do is just kind of dab over the yellow. I'm trying to not touch the white lines, which is where a finer tip would have been helpful, but I also have a white one that I can go back over. Okay, so that's what I'll do. I'm going to fill in all of this, and then there's a couple of things you can do when you have pencil lines left. One of them is you can put wax on top of them and heat it up and let it melt it off. That will sometimes lift off the pencil lines. The other thing I have seen people use is lighter fluid, like the liquid kind that you it's not it's a liquid. And then what I'm going to use is a product called Goo Gone, and it looks like, I just dumped a bunch of stuff over. It looks like this. So I will spray that into a paper towel, and then I will rub it lightly on the spots that have the pencil lines left, and that should remove the lines. And then I will varnish it. But before I do the Goo Gone, I will wait until I have the green part done and it has completely dried before I do the Goo Gone. Okay. I'll come back and show you the finished one, all nicely varnished and cleaned up. And here we have our completed kaleidoscope-like Pysanky. I'm really happy about the way it turned out. It's very vibrant, and actually when I started doing it, I wasn't expecting that, but I really like the way this turned out. And since I was doing that one, I also did this one. And so these each have one star on each side. So I thought, what would happen if I put a band of stars? Now, I like the pattern. The color choices didn't quite turn out like I had expected, but I liked the idea of it. So this turned out really cool from our inspiration of this pattern. This is what I came up with the Pysanky, and I had a lot of fun doing them on the chicken eggs. So now I'm going to try doing this same type pattern, a little more elaborate, on a goose egg. So next week I'll come back and show you that one. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned. After the goose egg, I'm going to do some other quilt inspired patterns. So we're going to have a lot of fun doing these quilt inspired patterns. I'm excited. I've got a whole bunch picked out. I probably won't do all of them on the channel, but I'll be showing them to you as I get them done. Thanks for watching.